played maybe their best game ever here at the RP Funding Center. It was almost a perfect game. It was a 7-2 win. Only the second time in franchise history that the Tropics had beaten Baltimore. Captain Hector Marinero got them off to a great start, and the offense just rolled from there.
No, certainly. I think they're getting offense from multiple players, you know, and again, spreading the wealth. Everyone's playing well from the back to the front, the target forwards. Everyone's getting behind the ball. I think it's a real unified effort from Clay Roberts and company. And certainly, you know, Brett Petracek, he's been fantastic in goal in his 2 games and certainly have given the spark and a lot of confidence for the defenders.
Ricardo Carvalho getting that feed from Pereiras, and then Gordy Gerson with a game winner. No Gerson tonight, unfortunately. He had 2 goals in that win against Baltimore last week, but he's been battling a foot injury basically all season. He did have an MRI on it this week, and the good news is the MRI was pretty clean, so don't think Gordy will miss a lot of time, but nonetheless, a little bit of a loss for the Tropics in not having Gordy Gerson in the lineup. But they get Antonio Manfoot back as we take a look at the great goal by Lucas Teixeira and the rest. And Lucio Gonzaga, who had a big opening night for the Tropics in his first ever game. 7-2 the final as the Tropics beat the Blast. We will be back with more. This is MASL Action on Great 38.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time for the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
Just about ready for kickoff here in Lakeland. Major Arena Soccer League action between the undefeated 5-0 Florida Tropics and the 3-1 Milwaukee Wave, the defending MASL champions. And Robbie, you've played in a lot of big games in your career, which spanned almost 300 games. What's the key to playing in a game like this? You got to keep your emotions in check a little bit, but you also want to make sure you're at your best, and maybe you play with a little more emotion than you might otherwise.
No, certainly. I think when you're at home, you have to dictate the tempo and the emotion and the intensity. So I expect Clay Roberts and the Tropics to come out with a real bite to the first quarter. But again, I like players when they keep their shifts short, keep things simple in the first, maybe 6-7 minutes, and then get their feet under them.
They played almost a perfect game here last week against Baltimore. Really kind of a stunning win, 7-2 over the Baltimore Blast, who had won the 3 previous MASL championships and who are a very good side. In fact, Florida had only beaten Baltimore once in their 4-year history before last Saturday. And really a defensive gem from Brett Petracek on out. Defensively, this team has been stout all season long, and so is Milwaukee. In their 3 wins, Robbie, they've only given up 5 total goals. So might be a bit of a defensive battle tonight, and goals, which is unusual in indoor soccer, might be a little hard to come by.
Well, at the end of the day, defense wins championships. All the top teams that I've been privileged to play for was always defensive-minded, and you certainly have your talented players like your Ian Bennett and your Max Ferdinand type players and your Victor Pereas. But ultimately, at the end of the day, to win games in the MASL, you have to defend first and have that mentality of getting behind the ball.
Yeah, and that has been a theme for the Tropics literally since the start of training camp back in October, as we have a special guest in the house being introduced at midfield tonight. The all-time leading scorer in the history of professional indoor soccer, Hector Marinero, is with us. Phenomenally had 1,925 points in his career. Just a few short of you, Robbie, but did you have the pleasure of playing against Hector ever?
No, he retired just before I started getting into the league, but we did play for the same franchise in Cleveland, and certainly a legend of the indoor game.
Yeah, just a tremendous player, and look forward to talking to him at halftime. So we'll get a chance to talk to really one of the all-time greats of the game, really the greatest player in kind of phase 2 of professional indoor soccer in this country. Of course, Steve Jungle with the MISL originally, maybe the greatest player of all time, people might argue, but Hector Marinero is probably right there among the top 2 or 3, and no taking away the fact he is definitely the all-time leading goal scorer and point scorer in the history of this sport. So we'll hope that's a good luck omen for the Tropics having Hector in the building tonight. We will check defensively for the Tropics. There was a game-time decision to be made. Stephen DeRue, who has been excellent defensively for the Tropics over the first 5 games of this regular season, woke up this morning with kind of a bad case of the flu. Now, he did participate in the pregame warm-ups, but do not believe he is dressed. It looks like Rob Acosta is actually on the bench dressed as that defensive spot, so it does not look like Stephen DeRue will go tonight. And as we mentioned in the top, no Gordy Gerson as well. Brett Petracek getting the start in goal. Lucas Teixeira and former Milwaukee Wave great Drew Ruggles on defense. Victor Pereras, Joey Tavernisi, and Ricardo Carvalho up front. Carvalho leading the Tropics in points and goals this year. He's got 6 goals and 6 assists, 12 points. That is tied for 4th best in the MASL. Tough not to have Stephen DeRue in the lineup tonight, Robbie, but the good news is Rob Acosta is a pretty good replacement.
No, I think it is difficult because Stephen DeRue, he's going to match up against the second forwards, maybe an Ian Bennett or a Max Ferdinand. So a lot of times you have those quick, wiry second forwards. You need someone like a Stephen DeRue at the back to kind of combat those type of quick players.
So we'll see how that plays out, but Rob Acosta is in there. He did a nice job last week shadowing Vinny Dantes sometimes, one of the Baltimore's top offensive players, and they were just smothering. The Tropics defense was all over the floor last week, and they will need that kind of performance here tonight. That win December 7th up in Milwaukee was historic for so many reasons for the Tropics, and we'll talk about that as the game unfolds. But first and foremost, it was the only loss. Milwaukee had only lost 1 game each of the last 2 seasons at home. And that was their home opener, the championship banner being raised that night, the rings coming out. And not only did the Tropics win that game, Robbie, but they really dominated, especially late. That's what I took away from it.
Yeah, I think, being a 4th-year program, Clay Roberts now is really settling in as a head coach. You've got a lot of players that have played multiple years in the indoor game, feeling very comfortable. And I think this year is their time to shine.
Guilherme getting the game winner in overtime at 2:42 on just a spectacular pass from Ricardinho Cabrera. It was the first overtime win in Tropics franchise history. And the Tropics are riding a 5-game win streak, which is also their best in team history. Only one of 2 undefeated teams in the MASL, the Monterey Flash in the Western Conference, the other team with a 5-0 mark. And there's Ricardinho unable to corral it as he gives it up to Marcio Leite, and the Wave will send it back to goalkeeper Rafa Diaz, who was spectacular in losing. Here comes Matt Clare. Matt Clare tries to get it through to Ricardinho, and Diaz was able to smother it.
Yeah, fantastic transition moment from Matt Clare, looking up for Ricardinho, half chance, nearly in.
Matt Clare tied for the league lead in game-winning goals with 2 this year, as Chad Vandergriff is watched by Cabrera on the far boards. Gets it back out mid-line to Liete. Now to Oliveria. Being watched by Lucas Montoleros.
Again, Wave are a very disciplined, organized team. A lot of possession, lots of movement, quick substitutions. They like to dictate tempo.
Yeah, I think both teams play very similar styles, and who can apply their will, if you will, a little more forcefully than the other team may be the winner here tonight. But I don't think we're going to see one of those 10-9 wild indoor soccer shootouts. 5-4, the score that final 3 weeks ago in Milwaukee might be similar here this evening. Here's a run down the near boards, pass in front, knocked out of there by Alves. He's played well for the Tropics this year, healthy really for the first time in 3 seasons. Possession though by Oliveria, being watched by Montoleros. He'll play it back out to Hans Dennison. The Wave, like the Tropics, a little short-handed roster-wise because of visa issues. 2 of Milwaukee's better players, Robert Renaud and Andrew Hain, unable to dress until their visa situations are resolved. In the Tropics without Rainer House, goalkeeper, who was 5th in the league in save percentage last year, signed in the offseason, unable to play. Here's a little give and go. This is a chance for the Wave now.
Well, you got Max Ferdinand on the ball, pulling the strings, a veteran of the indoor game, played with me in the Blast, fantastic 1v1 player, and that's a guy that Clay Roberts really has to keep his eye on. Make sure you corral him, double team him, force him to be a passer.
Those are the 2 guys that you really have to pay attention to every moment they're on the floor. That's 24 Max Ferdinand and number 26 Ian Bennett. Halle Berry is number 22, tall, rangy defender out there right now. Long ball in for Alves, and he will lose it to Bennett and gives it up to Berry now.
And I think a little bit untraditionally, you have the Wave playing with Bennett and Ferdinand, not really traditionally target-type players, but they're on the court, the field at the same time, and they don't really have a true post-up player.
Daniel Schmally with it, leaves it off for Diaz. Schmally gets it back. 2-on-1 chance here, but Berry couldn't control it. Alves then loses it. Gives it to Teixeira, who bangs it in front of the goal. Petrusik knocks it away. Schmally will track it down in the corner. Schmally will pull it back out. Viega thought about it from distance, decided to give it up on the near boards to Ferdinand, and now back to Berry.
Yeah, you can just see the tempo right now being controlled by the Wave. Very disciplined. They like to change when they have the ball.
Here's Ferdinand into the offensive third. Being watched by a former teammate, Drew Ruggles. Petrusik comes in, and he will pick it up.
I've been very impressed with Petrusik early on.
He's been great. He has been a savior so far after Hugo Silva, who was great the first 3 games. Here's a turnover. Here's Ferdinand as Montoleros comes in and does a great job to get it away. Played it out to the yellow line, and now Tavernisi has it. Tavernisi, he tried to get it ahead to Carvalho, who was looking one way, and the ball came another. Bad break for the Tropics there as Liete will control it for the Wave.
Yeah, Liete has been in the league for a number of years. Right now playing at the back, but was one of the best attacking players in the MISL at the time for the Milwaukee Wave. Now obviously getting a little bit older in years, but what a fantastic footballer. Played futsal, and for me, one of the better attacking players probably 5-6 years ago.
Diaz, as we said, playing goal for Milwaukee now because Josh Lemos, the all-world, all-star goalie for the Wave, done for the year after tearing his ACL in the preseason. Alves can't win that challenge, and here's a 3-on-2 for the Wave. And deflected on goal, Petrusik makes an easy save as Pereira tried to get the redirect. Claire on the intercept. Claire in 2-on-1 with Reggett. Here's Claire over to Reggett, shot, and he couldn't get a good left footer away. Just couldn't quite get it teed up the way he wanted it. I told Zach before the game I'm counting on him for 2 tonight, so he almost had his first.
Well, that's another great transition moment for Matt Clare. Gets his head up, plays a nice ball across his body to Reggett, just kind of mistimes the finish.
In front, tried to hit Reggett on the redirect, and it's cleared out of there, but Ruggles will control for Florida. Back over to Matthew Clare. Clare with it. Now to Teixeira. Nice little back heel down to the reigning MASL Rookie of the Year, Zach Reggett. 22 goals last year with the St. Louis Ambush. Came over in a trade in the offseason with the Tropics for Andre Brathwaite, who's playing well for St. Louis. Here's Pereira with a long shot. That just misses. Claire tried to track down the rebound. Pereira's again, the shot, and Diaz gets a hand on that one. Pereira still battling, now leaves it off for Claire. Reverses field over to Ruggles.
Fantastic play from Victor, the captain. Again, he's so lethal going to his right. He's got a cannon of a shot. And now get a little bit of possession, dictate a little bit of tempo, keep the ball, get your changes, get some fresh legs on.
Reggett's going to need a change here fairly quick at the yellow line right now. He'll get it out to Monaleras, to Ricardinho. Right side to Monaleras. Lucas with a long shot, save, and the rebound is knocked out of there by Diaz. Not the most conventionally built goalie, goes about 6 foot, 240. Antonio Manfoot with his first shift. He did not play last week. And we've got an injured Milwaukee player in front of the Florida bench.
It looked like a bit of an awkward collision with Reggett tracking back like a good target forward needs to do.
Yeah, there was 3 of them there that kind of collided, and we will make sure everybody is okay. But a pretty good start both ways here, Robbie. We'll take a look at the replay here of the shot by Pereira's as Diaz makes another very acrobatic save.
Now, Pereira's, for me, he's got one of the best right foots in the MASL, and he's always a guy that's looking to score goals. He's always got his head up, looking to combine forward. And again, as a midfield player, it's really, really important for 1 or 2 of those players in that specific midfield line to be an attacking presence.
He's got a pretty good left foot, too, by the way.
No, yeah, you know, again, he's...
Yeah, breaking the action. We'll be back more with MASL action on Grade 38. Actually, a better crowd than I expected tonight. Might be over.
Clinic is proud to be the official medical provider of the Florida Tropics Soccer Club. Their sports medicine team is dedicated to keeping the Tropics healthy and on the field.
Out.
He's out there now because he had the game winner in overtime in Milwaukee. Want Santos Youth Outreach Team to give a financial literacy presentation at your school or organization? Visit SuncoastCreditUnion.com.
Lucas Teixeira will put it in play for the Tropics. Scoreless here at the RP Funding Center. A couple of chances both ways. Tropics with maybe the better scoring chance or 2 here early on, but Rafa Diaz showing his athleticism as Ricardinho will send it into the offensive third. Nobody there for the Tropics. Ricardinho tried to follow his ball there. Teixeira steps up. Here's a 2-on-1 now. Here's Bennett. Bennett with a long shot that goes wide, and Ferdinand was there, but couldn't quite corral the rebound. Fortunate for the Tropics. Don't want to give up too many odd man situations against the Wave, especially when it's Ferdinand and Bennett coming at you.
No, you're exactly right, Brian. It's a dynamic duo of the indoor game. They've been, probably the D2 top players in the entire league for a few years now, and certainly a threat in the transition game. Both very athletic and pacey.
Lucas Teixeira tried to make that challenge out near the midfield circle and couldn't quite come up with it, and that's a risk that you have to take sometimes, and he lost that gamble. But fortunately, Bennett did not get away a great shot, and Ferdinand wasn't quite there on the rebound. So we'll see how that plays out as we move along here tonight. This is Lucio Gonzaga with it. He has it temporarily knocked away by Oliveira. Gonzaga had a terrific debut last Saturday against Baltimore with 2 goals in that one. His second was a particular beauty. Tavernisi with a shot. He had Carvalho lurking far post, but Ricardo unable to get it. Monaleris with a challenge against Bennett. The Wave will come out of there with it. Wave added a couple of players this week, Derek Huffman and Mario Alvarez from the Orlando Seawolves, as Monaleris comes in to make the takeaway, but a foul is called, and Milwaukee will get a dangerous restart here. And they're going to set it back out a little farther away than thought they might. Yeah, and I think one of the things that Clay has done better is setting up his wall early, getting the team organized. That one will go out of play, and there'll be a restart for the Wave. Well, as we know, restarts in indoor are one of the key pieces to championship teams. And now they have to defend that corner, which is a critical spot, just a little bit outside the corner kick area. Yeah, certainly the equivalent of a corner kick. Laid off, shot, and a goal. Nice finish by Luan Oliveira, number 8. And the Wave on the board first at the 8:33 mark here of the first. Man, we just talked about the critical set pieces, and just on cue they score. That's a fantastic ball in, kind of a blind side run, and a nice left-footed finish. And just a very little simple layoff to Oliveira, who had just enough space to bury it under the crossbar. So the Tropics fall behind here early. No, again, you know, as you start to develop into an indoor player and you've got more experience, these set pieces, defensive walls, top of the box, corner kicks, yellow line, they make a big difference. And again, you don't want to give up easy goals on these set pieces. And I thought for me that was a little bit of an easy goal. Yeah, it certainly was, as it turned out. So Oliveira gets his 5th of the season, 2nd on the team in goals now, as Reggett tries to turn and hit one on the volley. Steal by Pereira. Pereira leaves it off to Clare, and he couldn't make good contact, and Diaz able to cover up. Ian Bennett leads Milwaukee with 8 goals this year. Not the leading point getter, though. Max Ferdinand has that honor. Chomley gets it on the left side now to Pereira. Pereira dances in the box, but taken away by Pereira. He'll turn and bad giveaway. There's a shot and a good save by Petracek. And Pereira will get the rebound as Dennison had a chance from short distance after the uncharacteristic miscue by Victor Pereira. It's great transition defense from the Wave. Victor Pereira trying to go forward on a transition moment, but sandwiched, and possession is retained by the Wave. Very savvy team. Work hard behind the ball. Very difficult to get the ball back from them as well. Again, a push into the Florida offensive third, top of the box, layoff to Bennett. Bennett with a shot. Good defensive block that time by Teixeira. That's a great block from Teixeira. He's known to be one of the top leading block getters in the league. Always throwing his body around. So again, a dangerous restart opportunity here for Milwaukee, almost from the same spot where they scored just a minute ago. Yeah, it's a little bit unconventional wall. You have a midfielder in the wall with man foot, and you have Tavernisi marking up back post against Bennett. Here's Liete with a long shot. That goes wide. Alves will control the rebound. Clears it out to no one in particular, and so Milwaukee will quickly gain repossession here. Oliveira down low. Off the boards in front past Petracek, and Oliveira was making a run, but just got by Luan. But again, a steal by the Wave and a takedown by Tavernisi. No blue card, but a foul and a restart chance here for the Wave again. I thought it was actually a pretty good tackle. You have the opposite referee calling the play. And looking at the replay, I thought it was all ball. Certainly got the man afterwards, but good tackle from Tavernisi. Ferdinand will be on the restart here. He's got Liete out there with him on top, along with the goal scorer Oliveira. Bennett down low. Ferdinand wants a little more space. There's the ball through the box, but that one is sent halfway to Temple Terrace. But another opportunity on a set piece for the Wave, and I think right now they're mixing and matching who's going in the wall, whether it's a target forward, second forward. I like to see both my defenders zoning at the back, and the midfielder, the one that's a little bit higher. And I think right now Lucas Teixeira and Ricardino were reversed in that role. Well, this is going to be a game of spurts and momentum, and Milwaukee has had it for the last couple of minutes after the Tropics had it a little bit before that. Here's Manfoot down low to Reggett. Reggett being watched in there by Barry, and he's able to take it away. Manfoot, though, quickly tries to send it back the other way, but Milwaukee will control. Reggett bangs in there to try and get control. No whistle, and a couple of comments there between the Tropics and Wave player. As Drew Ruggles goes up against Stuart Grable, number 12. Now here comes another chance for the Wave, and that's Pereira, but Petracek holds his ground nicely and does not give up a rebound, which is big in this game. You want to make that initial stop, but you want to do everything you can to prevent a rebound, and Petracek's been pretty good at that. Another giveaway by the Tropics, however. They've been pretty good at that as well tonight. There's a shot and a goal. Oliveira took the shot, and it was redirected in front. Don't know if it went in off one of the Tropics players or it was redirected by one of the Milwaukee players in front. There were several of them there, but it will count nonetheless. And the Wave have a 2-0 lead. We'll take a look.
Gotta tell you what, number 8 for the Wave, Oliveira, looks like he whips it across the box. Difficult to sell, but does look like maybe a bit of a deflection own goal.
It was. It was off the back foot of Drew Ruggles, the former Milwaukee Wave defender, who was trying to mark Isaac Pereira in front. So Oliveira will get credit for his second goal of the quarter, second of the game, 6th of the season, and Milwaukee up 2-0.
Well, and he looks really lively right now. He's a very left-footed player, but he drags it to his right, whips it across the box with his right foot, and anything happens. Good things happen when you whip the ball in the box. Own goal, unfortunate for the Tropics.
So Florida now trailing 2-0, something they have not been accustomed to this year. It was kind of a back-and-forth game up in Milwaukee. The Tropics led it 3-2 at one point. Milwaukee came back to lead it 4-3 before Carvalho got the equalizer midway through the fourth quarter, and Guilherme the winner in overtime.
Well, I think one of the difficult things when you play the Wave, they don't press too often unless they're losing. Right now, they have everyone behind the ball. They allow the Tropics to have possession. As you can see right now, Ian Bennett is basically defending in his own half, so it really makes it difficult for the Tropics to find any space in behind.
Line change here for Florida as Matt Clare comes out. He's got Joey Tavernese deep. That's Ricardinho with it at the midfield circle. Back to the MASL Defender of the Year 2 years ago, Rob Acosta. In there is a game-time decision. Stephen DeRue, who was scheduled to start defensively, unable to go because of the nasty head cold that he woke up with this morning. Whistle and a foul back in the Milwaukee end of the floor. 2:41 to go. This is the appetizer for the MASL this Saturday. 6 games on the schedule. Very busy night. Utica City with a big game tonight. Here's Teixeira, lays it up for Clare, and he misses far post. Ruggles will back it out for the Tropics as they retain possession now. Ricardinho to Lucas Teixeira, who had a marker last week against Baltimore. Joey Tavernese still looking for his first goal. Here's through the box looking for Teixeira, but it was behind him. Clare comes in, gives it up to Teixeira, and the Tropics going to need a line change here. Is Joey Tavernese going to head to the bench? Ruggles looks down. There's a chance by Ricardinho in front, but nobody there for the Tropics. Ruggles will control again out at the midfield line.
Well, I think right now the Wave, sitting in deep, like we talked about, that's what their head coach wants. Play on the counterattack with Max Ferdinand and Ian Bennett. But there's a lot of space for the target forward for the Tropics. If they can find his feet and make runs off of him, I think they're going to have a lot of success.
Manfoot gets it to Ricardinho. Ricardinho gets deep in the corner, off the boards, through the box, nobody there. Reggett trying to track it down. Clear it out, Montoleros will collect it. No, it'll go back to Ruggles. Now to Montoleros. Montoleros down to Reggett. Reggett, double team deep in the corner. Trying to fight through the double team, can't do it. And then Reggett going to be called for a little bit of a frustration foul.
Yeah, that's a youngster type of player. There is really no space for the Milwaukee Wave to get out. And Reggett now, at this point now, allows the Wave to have possession back.
Zach, one of the more physical players in the league, and tried to get through the double team, couldn't do it, and then just a little toasty on the challenge afterwards.
The Wave are difficult to play against because when they do retain possession, difficult to get it back. They can hold it for long periods of time.
Yeah, they are crafty, they are veteran, and they are talented despite the players that aren't dressed. Here's the ball into the box, little give and go, still loose. Manfoot will come out of there as Monaleris is taken down. Manfoot still with it, tried to get it ahead to Lucio Gonzaga. Monaleris, they're going to eventually call the foul back behind the play as Lucas will limp to the bench. Think he's okay, but they did eventually call the foul. Guilherme with it. Need to get some space to tee up that left foot. Gonzaga with it. He can't maintain possession, and the Wave will take it. Guilherme trying to pressure Ferdinand. Carvalho will chase now. Up to the center line, that is Angel Curiel. Curiel with it. Tropics chasing here, but the Wave doing a good job keeping possession. Ruggles steps up, and he will allow Gonzaga to take possession. Just 10 seconds to go, so one last chance perhaps to press into the forward end of the field. Carvalho just misses that. Or here's Guilherme as he tries to tee one up, can't do it, and that will leave just 1/10 of a second on the clock.
That was a heads-up play from Lucio Gonzaga, just dumping it in with only a few seconds left, and they almost created an opportunity going into the second quarter.
Carvalho just missing the header high above the crossbar over Diaz. So that's the first 15 minutes here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. It's the Milwaukee Wave 2 and the Florida Tropics nothing, back with more major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38 in just a moment.
CBS Investment Advisors, steady as you grow.
So 2 goals from Milwaukee's Luan Oliveira. The second, a deflection off Tropics defender Drew Ruggles, and that's where we stand. The first time all season that the Tropics have trailed by more than a goal. They trailed by a goal twice before coming back winning in Milwaukee December 7th. So the comeback, if it is in the cards tonight, will have to be just a little bit bigger. Not a terrible quarter by the Tropics, but not their best. Here's Tavernisi. Couldn't collect that ball off the boards as Pereiras gets it back now to Rafa Alves. Back to Pereiras. Pereiras at the yellow line. With the left foot, shot in front. Calmly cooled out of the box as Alves is dumped, and a whistle and a foul.
Yeah, we just talked about Pereiras with his left foot. Obviously, he's got a cannon of a right, but as any good offensive player, you've got to be able to use both feet. I think there's just a real opportunity to find the target forward if you're a Tropics player, to look to play off Tavernisi, Zach Reggett, make runs off the ball, crash the ball, get balls off the ball into the boards.
Ruggles with it, being watched by Curiel. Back to Montoleris, long shot, and Tavernisi almost collected that rebound in front of Diaz, but it went by him. Tropics with good possession here in the first minute of the second quarter. Pereiras back to Ruggles. Ruggles tied for the third in the league in shots blocked with 7, but he's got an offensive bend to his game, no question. Had 11 goals with Milwaukee last year. Here's Ricardinho. Tried to hit Tavernisi in front. Joey couldn't quite connect on the back heel, but the Tropics again retain possession.
Well, they're going to have a lot of opportunity, Brian, to keep possession for long periods of time because the Wave are sitting so far back.
Chance in front for Claire, and Diaz got a hand on that one, and he's shaken up. So Rafa Diaz, who was already goalie number 2 for Milwaukee this year, shaken up. Now they do have their backup with them, so that is not always the case when teams travel on the road. Sometimes they travel with just one goaltender.
Well, it's unfortunate, too, because the Tropics were gaining some real momentum. They were pinning back the Wave. Sometimes this is a little bit of a tactical in terms of what the keeper is really doing. Sure. Is he injured, or is he looking to say, hey, we need a bit of a breather and get our guys a change?
Looking at the right arm, right forearm or elbow area, but I think Rafa's going to be okay. We'll see that collision again here.
Yeah, good ball off the boards from Reggett.
Yeah, it looks like just contact on the right arm there. Maybe it was his own teammate, in fact, looked like may have stepped on it.
Maybe. I got a bit of a suspicion for me that there was good possession from the Tropics. They were pinning in Ferdinand and Bennett. They weren't able to get out. And yeah, I think, kudos to the keeper.
Yep, take a little breather and settle things down. The Tropics had come out in the first 90 seconds and had all the possession and a couple of near chances to try and slice into this 2-0 lead. Hey, if you're a longtime Tampa Bay Rowdies fan and you have a very good memory and you're watching on Great 38 this afternoon and thinking, this might look a little familiar, well, you wouldn't be wrong. The Tampa Bay Rowdies actually played 5 games here at the Lakeland Civic Center, as it was called back in the 80s. In fact, this is the 25th anniversary of the Rowdies playing games here. They played 2 exhibition games, and then they played 3 regular season games here at the RP Funding Center. Steve Jungle, the Lord of all indoors, actually played here when the San Jose Earthquakes and the Rowdies played. The Southern Homes home cook and the home schedule. San Diego, the feature attraction coming up on February 8th, the soccer's 13 World Championships. Back-to-back Sunday matinees, January 12th and 19th. Those will be the next 2 home games after tonight against the Orlando Seawolves, who continue to make moves. We'll talk about that as Ricardinho breaks into the Milwaukee end of the field. Ruggles steps up to try and keep it alive. Can't do it. 2-on-1 here for the Wave. If they hurry, here's a long ball through to Oliverio looking for the hat trick. Ruggles, though, is able to make a recovery, and that had opportunity written all over it for Milwaukee, but did not quite develop. Giveaway again as Bradley will send it back out for the Wave to reset at midfield.
Yeah, I think if you're a Tropics player, anytime you have possession for long periods of time, the Wave are sitting back in. They're going to be playing on the counterattack. You're always going to have to give up that threat. Unfortunately, this is the style of play that the Wave are looking to dictate this tempo of the game. They want to sit in and they want to counter with the space in behind.
Of course, the Rowdies' big star back in that era was Tattoo. He was a rookie that year with the Rowdies. They played here in Lakeland. He went on to become one of the all-time great players in the history of the sport, and the Tropics will hook up with Tattoo on a road trip to Texas in January. He is now the coach of the Mesquite Outlaws. Montoleris with it. Left side to Alvis in front, and Manfoot took a whack. But good defensive positioning by the Waves. Isaac Pereira meant that never got through all the way to Diaz. A lot of giveaways by the Tropics. Another one is Pereira trying to get some space, and he was taken down, he thought, by Petracek, but no whistle, as Guilherme will come down the middle of the field. He's double teamed, however, and again, Milwaukee with possession. Pereira will get it, but quickly taken away by Montoleris. Montoleris will play it off the boards back to his own goalkeeper, Petracek.
And I do like the start to the second quarter for Clay Roberts and the Tropics. A little bit more feisty. There's a little bit more intensity and bite to the game. They're looking to try to get balls off the boards, crash the box, and I like what I'm seeing so far in the second quarter.
Yeah, generally been a better start here for the first 15 minutes rather.
But I can tell you, it's always difficult to play a team that just sits in and looks to play on the counter at any club in the world.
Here's Tavernese off the boards in front. Didn't quite get the angle as he had Carvalho making a run, but came off the dashers a little flat, and Diaz was able to corral it. This is Vandergrift being watched by Tavernese. As we said, he's got 5 assists, leads the club, second rather in the club in assists. Handball there against Milwaukee, so Tropics will get a quick restart if they want it. There's that chance in on Petracek as he eventually won that battle with Pereira.
Yeah, I think Pereira's looking to go down a little bit too easy there. Takes a bit of a dive.
Reagan can't collect it. Milwaukee will clear it back out, bounces over the dasher board, so a restart for the Tropics. Looking for their first goal of the half. Here's Teixeira. As we said, goals probably going to be a little hard to come by tonight.
Yeah, not a lot of space for the Tropics to maneuver around.
Tropics felt like they could make some runs on the wave. Here's Teixeira with the long ball, but Bennett got most of that, and it rolls harmlessly to Diaz. Good defensive play by the offensive star, Ian Bennett. Was a teammate of Coach Giuliano Olivero for a number of years with Milwaukee.
And he's had such a storied career as a player and now as a coach.
Here's a chance down low. Shot. Petracek makes a nice save.
It's a fantastic save from Petracek.
Yeah, Bennett with a great opportunity on the near post, and you don't deny him very often. Ferdinand creating a turnover perhaps. Kept alive in the Florida end. Here's Grable. Leaves it off now to Oliveira. Yeah, I didn't realize how good a career Giuliano really had until I looked at his stats. Here's Claire. Claire at the yellow line. Tries to get it to Guilherme. Guilherme will keep possession. Teixeira with it. Sobrero with it. Ricardinho retreating as Tropics look to regroup offensively. Thought we would do a battle of the coaches and their careers in professional soccer. Clay Roberts was a pretty good defender in his day, but only played 4 years in the league. 67 starts, he had 1 goal.
Yeah, he's you know, he certainly was a smart, savvy defender, but target defender, always covered the target forwards. But we're speaking about the Milwaukee Wave head coach. What a fantastic career, you know, as a second forward. Later on in his career, he ended up playing as a target forward.
410 goals in his career.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, not too shabby at all. Here's Gonzaga's shot, never got through the wall. Gonzaga, one of the reasons he was brought in was to help on the restart situations. And again, a Milwaukee player is down and injured. May have been the player that took the shot from Gonzaga on the restart.
Well, I think there's a bit of complaints. This is the second time, and again, I think he really took a shot to the groin area, but I think Clay Roberts is a little bit disappointed in the fact that it's another player down.
Yeah, it looks like right inside the groin area there, perhaps.
And you got a feel for him there. He took a real tough shot from Gonzaga. And, you know, again, Lucio, I was fortunate to play with him when he was starting to become an indoor player with the Blast. We were actually on the same line together. And, you know, what a fantastic indoor player. He's got a great shot, great work ethic, and he's a great team player. So it's a fantastic pickup for Clay Roberts to bring someone with such experience in the indoor game. A lot of championships, a veteran of the game. To bring him in this late in his career, I think is valuable for the younger players.
Yeah, really impressed with his composure last week, his calmness. He just had a presence out there that was you could just feel that. Not a characteristic that the Tropics had a lot of, I think, before Gonzaga got here, was just that veteran calming influence, Just do the right thing, don't get in trouble, and really scored a brilliant goal from the yellow line. Just love that goal he scored. It wasn't the hardest shot in the world, but it was perfectly placed, perfectly timed, perfectly struck, and just a goal that you would expect a veteran like Gonzaga to score.
For sure. When he was in his prime with the Blast, he was probably one of our most dangerous attacking players. So that says a lot, because the Blast in their years have had some fantastic indoor players in the offensive third of the field.
The Blast in the unusual position right now of 7th place in the Eastern Conference, but they just made a fairly major pickup today, getting Richard Schmerman from the Orlando Seawolves, and that's a big move for Baltimore. And you knew they were going to not sit still after a 2-loss trip to Florida, the Sunshine State, last week.
No, certainly. I think, you know, with all Blast teams, sometimes they do start a little bit slow, but they always seem to gain momentum as the season goes on, and that's a fantastic pickup for their crew. Danny Kelly and David Bascombe running the ship over there with, of course, owner Ed Hale, and they're always going to rebound, and I'm sure they're going to be in the thick of things when it's all said and done.
Yeah, no question, and I wouldn't be surprised that is not the only move they make here in the next few weeks to reinforce the troops there in Baltimore. The Tropics will play there next weekend, and the second of a back-to-back game against Rochester on Friday, and then Baltimore next Saturday. Of course, you can catch all those actions, all those games live at masl.tv. Here's Manfoot in the corner, being watched in there by Liete. Manfoot can't get it back. Will try and make a steal at the yellow line. Pereira steps up but can't get it as the Wave try and counter. Liete with it. Finds an open man on the left side, Pereira.
That's good. It's good work from Liete, gaining possession, now keeping his team in possession, and now getting some line changes, get some fresh legs on, the likes of Ferdinand and Ian Bennett.
Yep, anytime they're on the floor, that's always dangerous for Milwaukee. Teixeira on the challenge against Ferdinand, but Vandergriff will control. Teixeira with a little bit of pressure. 2-0 Milwaukee. Luan Oliveira with both goals in the first quarter. Second and own goal off the foot of Florida defender Drew Ruggles, as Diaz will stray off his line for the first time and sends it out of play.
I think if that's any indication. You know, you have a new keeper for the Wave. Certainly he's made a few key stops, but maybe not as savvy with his feet. Maybe an opportunity to pressure him a little bit.
Yeah, I expect that could be something we see from the Tropics later on. Break in the action here in Lakeland. It's the Florida Tropics trailing Milwaukee 2-0. This is major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38.
Your Syntex smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. And the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
Yeah, the man of the match so far here for Milwaukee with both goals here in the first half. Tropics, though, threatening here in the second as Ricardo Carvalho, their leading scorer, tracks it down in the corner. Zach Reggett in there against Bennett. Alvis tries to get in there, and now Barry will counter for Milwaukee. Ali Barry with the long strides, but Lucas Monteleras does a nice job getting back, and Petracek does a better job getting it off the boards. Time to push forward here for the Tropics. Reggett has it. Carvalho is in front. The Tropics a little slow in the transition there as Milwaukee was making a change. In front row, and Carvalho can't get the redirect.
It's a good ball off the boards from
Great
Zach
ball.
Reggett. Unfortunate. Carvalho was lurking inside the box. But like you just said, Brian, a little bit slow to recognize the transition moment for the Tropics.
Reggett with a push off. They say play on. Liete in there, or rather Curiel. Now through to Carvalho, back to Monteleras. He'll make a bid from distance, and that's blocked.
It's a nice block. Yeah, Viega celebrating. I don't think he knew much about it, but he got his body in front of that massive shot from Monteleras.
Monteleras, no stranger from slotting one from distance now and again. Here's Costa with it. Over to Matt Clare, who's had a good half. Pereiras. Gets it down low to Guilherme. Guilherme trying to turn, shot right on, and Diaz makes the save. It'll go over the glass and out of play, so it'll be a restart here for the Tropics.
Well, again, it's a critical restart. They've got Pereiras and Guy looking to line up for a right footer and a left footer.
Came all the way back to Guilherme as Pereiras let it go by, and it was blocked out of play.
I think the Wave players want to make sure that they get credited for these blocks because they're really celebrating. But rightfully so. That's a big part of the indoor game. You need guys that can lay their body on the line, and that's what wins you championships. And that's the reason why they are the defending champions.
When you talk about how good the defensive effort was against Baltimore last week, the Tropics credited with 13 blocked shots in that game.
Yeah, that's a critical component to the indoor game.
And that gives you an idea just how stout the defensive effort was last Saturday. And it's been pretty good here. Don't make any mistake. 2-0 is not a huge deficit in the indoor game by any stretch.
No, and I think right now the Tropics are really gaining momentum in this second quarter,
They've
really
had the
creating
better
chances.
play, yeah.
Looking to find their target forward a little bit more. As you can see from our angle, there's a ton of space for the target forward for the Tropics. It's just a matter of finding the right ball into him and making your runs off.
Guilherme with a shot, misses on the short side. Didn't really strike it quite as well as he would have liked, and now out of play, and this will be a restart at the top of the box.
Well, it's the second restart now, top of the box for Clay Roberts and company. And I think, again, the top teams in the league are going to make teams suffer for kicking the ball out of bounds for a top of the box. So let's see what Clay Roberts can draw up.
I think he may want a timeout to make sure he's got the exact play that he wants to see who Milwaukee has out there and how they're going to set it up. And, yeah, they're going to call a timeout. So Clay Roberts will draw it up on the whiteboard. As you pointed out, this is the second one from the top of the arc. The first one was a restart from Gonzaga that never got through, so they may want to try something down low here on this opportunity.
Well, the good thing is for Clay Roberts, he's got a lot of good right-footer and left-footed shooters, so he's got an array of different options. For me, I did play a lot of the top of the box. I was always the one trying to feed that second pass, and I would always look weak side. So whatever the wall was taken away, oftentimes we would go the opposite way. It's a little bit farther for the wall to get out and a little bit more difficult for that defender to read the play. So hopefully there's an overload opportunity. There's a little bit of movement on this top of the box opportunity. But I think, Brian, it's critical at 4 minutes left in this second quarter to see if they can hit the back of the net.
Yeah, they would like to at least get one back and cut that deficit in half. And when you're in games like this, and the Tropics will play big games all season long, and hopefully in the postseason where they've never been, set pieces and restarts like this are huge. They can really literally be the difference between a win or a loss.
Well, and from my experience, a lot of the top indoor players that have made a career have been really specialty type players on the power play, on set pieces, and you can really make a name for yourself as a specialty type of player.
Gonzaga is out there again, along with Carvalho. Looks like Guilherme. Looks like Joey Tavernese down low, and Victor Pereiras as well. So we'll see if Gonzaga this time pulls the trigger or perhaps leaves it for Carvalho. Gonzaga will lay it off to Guilherme. Shot!
Well, right on cue. You know, Brian, we talked about attacking the weak side of the wall. There's a little bit of a stutter step from Lucio Gonzaga. Fantastic futsal roll from Guillermo, and he's got a rocket of a shot. We know that with his left foot.
And the key to that, Robbie, and you can appreciate this as the player, is that one extra little touch. He didn't just try and tee it up on the pass. He took that one extra touch to create enough space for the shot.
Well, and that's a futsal soul roll. He kind of bites the defender, and again, Vega kind of bit on the initial shot. Guillermo soul rolls it and laces it in the back corner. What a fantastic goal. Nice assist as well from Lucio Gonzaga.
Second goal of the year for Guilherme. And I can tell you, they practiced that exact restart here at the arena earlier this week. I was at one of those practices, I think it was Tuesday, and that exact restart is one of the ones they practiced, with that little extra push in there for Guilherme.
Perfect.
And it paid dividends here in the second quarter, so it's a 2-1 ball game.
Yeah, and I think we both can feel that this game has turned a little bit, and I think credit to Clay Roberts for coming into the second quarter with a little bit more bite, a little bit more energy, and getting the troops rallied for this second quarter. They're playing very well at the moment.
Ricardinho feeds it ahead for Ruggles. Tropics, if they could break the pressure here, 4 Milwaukee players in the offensive end. Here's Ruggles. Gets it down low to Tavernisi off the boards. Ruggles, no, it's Sobrera making a run, but blocked in there at the last minute by Shamali, and he'll come out of there with it. And Ruggles going to be called for the foul, and that's going to be a blue card.
I think it's a fair call.
Yeah, I do too.
Dove in. Unfortunate because this game goes both ways very quickly, and they had a real opportunity with a 3 versus 2 going the other way. Unfortunately, they lost it, and now counterattack opportunity for the Wave, and Ruggles picks up a blue card.
Yeah, no question is he just stuck the leg in there and took Shamali down, and even Drew did not really argue the point. So a power play opportunity here for Milwaukee. They are pretty decent on the power play, 43% efficiency so far this year. The Tropics have not given up a power play goal this year. They are 100% in 5 games on penalty kills. But it's one thing to do that against Orlando. It's another to do it against the defending champion Milwaukee Wave.
Well, you know, obviously you've got Ferdinand and Bennett. They're top players on the power play. You've got Liete, which is a veteran, and Vega. This is going to be a very difficult power play to kill.
Ferdinand with it on the near boards. Bennett is low at the other post. Teixeira with a brief takeaway, and that will kill at least a few seconds of the man advantage. Teixeira and Joey Tavernisi up top, Rafael Alves and Monaleros down low. Viega will collect it at the midfield line.
I think with any good man-down kill right now, you have to go back and forth from playing a diamond to a box, depending on what the offensive players are doing. Right now, it looks like a box, but oftentimes you've got to go into a diamond to kind of confuse the opposition.
Penetration and a shot on the short side. Petracek got a piece of it. Don't know if it was targeted for the back of the net or not, but Petracek was able to bang it out of there as it goes out of play. Still 56 seconds to go in the man advantage.
And I think one of the things, too, when you're a man down, there's always an opportunity to score on the counterattack. Also, the player that's coming out of the box, Ruggles, opportunity to find him in the dying seconds before that penalty kill is just about to be over.
Ferdinand with it. He'll tee it up. Petracek knocks it out of there. Milwaukee will continue to control. 37 seconds to go on the power play. Down low to Bennett with a shot that just misses far post. Might have even grazed the woodwork there. Here's Ferdinand over to Bennett on the volley. And he will send that halfway to Willow Oak.
Yeah, I think a little bit fortunate there. It was a fantastic strike from Bennett. Hit the inside post. And then he got another opportunity, and that one went way high. I think relieved for a Tropics player, because now you can kind of breathe a little bit.
Here's a replay, and you don't see Bennett miss that very often. Difficult play on the volley, like he tried to make it, but that was a scary moment, no question, for Tropics fans. Down to 14 seconds to go in the power play, so one last chance for Milwaukee to push forward here. Ferdinand will do it. at the Florida yellow line. Now at the top of the arc, back to Viega. Left side, shot off the post. Ruggles is back on, so the power play is over, and the best opportunity came at the last moment.
Well, 2 inside post shots, so unfortunate for the Wave, but very fortunate for the Tropics to be able to kill that power play and keep their streak at 100%.
Here's Teixeira on the steal. Didn't really have much help. Gives it to Pereira. Back to Tavernisi. Diaz going to come off the line. Tavernisi knocks it towards goal, but was just far enough off the mark that Joey couldn't quite catch up with it.
And I think if Tavernisi wasn't on the man down, he probably would have been able to get to that, but he's lost all of his legs. He did a great job to kill that power play.
Yeah, the needle was on E there. Here's a counter for Milwaukee. And a good defensive play by Monaleris as he stuck a foot in there as Ferdinand was looking to set up Vandergrift.
And I think when we look back at that first half, I think that kill for the Tropics was a critical component of this game.
Here's that shot off the post right at the end of the power play.
And actually, Petracek looked like he got a tip save to that.
Might have just got a fingertip on it. And another blue card coming up here for the Tropics. Their second of the quarter is Angel Curiel was taken down, and I think it's either Monaleris or Teixeira, I guess, going to the box.
Yeah, it looks like Teixeira, but I think, unfortunately for Teixeira, he got caught on the man down, and he's still on when they killed the first power play. So his legs were gone. He had nothing in the tank, and that's a situation where he's got to figure out a way to get off, get fresh legs on so he doesn't commit a foul, because ultimately, if you're defending for 2 straight minutes, you literally have nothing in the tank.
And the problem for the Tropics is their bench is at the opposite end of where the Milwaukee offensive third is here in the second quarter, so it's a long way to get off. And Teixeira unable to do so. We saw Tavernisi get off just a minute or maybe 30 seconds before that, but Lucas unable to. So a chance for Milwaukee to get a 2-goal lead here again before intermission. Ferdinand with it. Down low, back to Ferdinand with a shot, and that never got through. It almost did, but Alves was able to take it off the line.
Oh, looks a fantastic save from the big man, Rafa.
Not sure what the Tropics are quite so hot about, but looks like it's going to be a restart at the top of the penalty arc.
Well, top of the box with a man down now becomes extremely
really
difficult.
dangerous.
You can only put 2 in the wall.
Liete, the trigger man, gets it down low, and Petracek with good anticipation makes the save on Alex Bradley. Long outlet to Tavernisi, still 17 seconds to go. Liete quickly back for Milwaukee, top of the arc, left side, Bennett, shot blocked in there by Monaleris. Bennett again on the rebound, no goal! No goal, they're going to wave it off. I think there was a foul against Milwaukee, so that one will not count.
Yeah, and I think looking back at that play with Petracek, I think he probably should have took a timeout or waited a little bit, because Tavernisi's on a counterattack, but you lose it,
exactly.
And you give another opportunity for the Wave.
Still 3 seconds to go. Oliveira with a shot, goal at the buzzer, and it's going to count.
Wow.
Oliveira with a beautiful place shot to the far post as time expires here in the second quarter. And Luan Oliveira with a hat trick.
Well, again, I just think control. Yeah, that one hurts. That's a buzzard beater at the half. Big goal for the Wave going into halftime, but I think a little bit unorganized for the Tropics in trying to close out that game.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky, a little bit unfortunate as we see Oliveira, the first of his 3 goals. Here's the second, the deflection off Ruggles, and then the one at the buzzer. So we go to intermission, 3-1 Milwaukee. This is MASL Soccer on Great 38.
the Florida Sensations Dance Team.
Right here.
All right.
Did you play with Robbie at all?
No, mostly against him.
Yeah, okay,
I played a little bit against him. Yeah.
Halftime here in Lakeland, Florida. The Florida Tropics trailing the MASL defending champion Milwaukee Wave by a score of 3-1. Luan Oliveria with the natural hat trick. All 3 goals in that first half for Milwaukee. And a man who knows a thing or two about scoring goals and hat tricks. If you know anything at all about indoor soccer, might have a little less hair on his head, but still has that great smile, and I bet he could step on the floor and score 3 or 4 goals himself today. It's Hector Marinero. He is the all-time leading scorer in the history of indoor soccer. 1,925 points in an incredible career in professional indoor soccer, mainly in Cleveland with the Cleveland Crunch. Got the pleasure to call many of your goals back in the day against the Buffalo Blizzard. So welcome to Lakeland. And tell us about your impressions of that first 30 minutes. Milwaukee, the defending champions, and you can kind of tell why.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? First off, it's just great to be here. It's great to be watching an indoor game. I haven't been to one in quite a long time. You know, Milwaukee kind of showed why they're the defending champs. They really came out, took the game to Florida early on, but you know, Florida got right back in there. Unfortunately, the penalty right at the end kind of hurt them, and giving up a goal with 1 second really a backbreaker.
Yeah, really a tremendous career for you. 685 games career. Played over 1,200 goals, as we said, 1,925 total points. I'm sure you've been asked this question a million times, so I'll ask it a million and one times. What's the key to really being such a big goal scorer in indoor soccer?
Playing for a long time.
Yeah, that helps. That helps.
You know, I was fortunate enough to play 21 years, kind of really stayed away from any major injuries, and played with a lot of great players that helped me score a lot of goals. So, you know, Zoran Karic, the dynamic duo in Cleveland, set me up on so many goals. Gary Hill in L.A., David Byrne, but, you know, Tommy Tanner. Our teams in Cleveland were made to score goals. You know, what started with Otto Orff in goal, his outlets kind of led to a lot of our goals.
And the thing about indoor soccer that may be a little different than the outdoor game, although the outdoor game can be physical, but the indoor game is really a very physical game. Close contact, and you scored a lot of goals in close. Talk about that physical nature of the game, and maybe that fans really don't appreciate quite as much how physical a game it really is.
Yeah, you know, myself being a Canadian, growing up playing hockey, I kind of loved the physical stuff, and it was a lot of fun. It's never fun getting kicked, but it's a very, you know, right now I'm standing right against the boards watching the game right down by the action. And man, it is physical, and the guys are a lot bigger now too. You know, I don't want to be playing against some of these big guys now, but it's definitely a very physical game. But you know, just being here again, it's such an entertaining sport, even though it was only 3-1. Lots of action, lots of shots. If you've never been to an indoor game, get out here to Florida, to Lakeland, watch a game, because it's great entertainment for great value.
Well, no one will tell it better than Hector Marinero, the man with 1,925 career points. Played with the Cleveland Force back in the day at the old Richfield Coliseum when you played before crowds of 14 and 15,000. It was a great time, and we thank you so much for joining us here in Lakeland. We
My
are
pleasure.
at halftime at the RP Funding Center, 3-1 Milwaukee. Back with more in just a moment on Great 38. A couple of pointers, yeah, when they come back, give them a couple of pointers, would you? Well, if the first game went to form, the second game, if that goes to form, could be a classic. So. Yeah. I'll fall asleep before the end of the game, I promise.
Well, I think it's going to be a tight enough game. I don't think you'll be able to.
Okay, good. Okay, sounds good. Okay, sounds good.
I'm sorry? No. Really, probably about what I expected. Pretty even game. Milwaukee had better to play in the first half. We had the better to play in the second quarter, and the late penalty third. You know, it was. I didn't expect this to be a high-scoring game. So. Yeah. So 2-1 doesn't surprise me. 5-4 would not be a surprising, final score. So it really kind of played out how I expected it. But 2 blue cards in the last 5 minutes. That's undisciplined. I know that's something Clay preaches against, but I thought the second one was maybe a little sketchy. The first one was definitely. So maybe the refs owe us one. Maybe we'll get one power play in the third quarter to get going again. But man, you give up one like that at the buzzer, that's a hurter. Especially because you've already killed one penalty, and you kind of thought, you weren't gonna. The damage wasn't gonna be done. Yeah. And I mean, 3-1 isn't horrible, but it's just such a momentum kill, buzzkill, Well, work to be done for the Florida Tropics as they trail here 3-1 to the defending MASL champion Milwaukee Wave. That was their 7th World Championship last season after knocking off Baltimore Blast in the semifinals of the MASL playoffs last year. Baltimore winning the 3 previous championships, and Baltimore, of course, one of the teams that the Tropics have beaten in this 5-0 start here in 2019. But you go back to last season, and it was a much slower start. Just a 2-3 record after 5 games, and that 5th game last year was a loss against Milwaukee 7-2. So you can see the difference. Of course, the Tropics went out and invested heavily in the free agent market here this offseason, and that has paid dividends with this 5-0 start. 3 of those over the Seawolves so far, who are not among the elite in the MASL this year, but at the opposite end of that, 2 tremendous wins, including that win in Milwaukee. And then I thought maybe the best game the Tropics have ever played, start to finish, offensively, defensively, the whole way against Baltimore last week, Robbie, 7-2. First half, that late goal, you can't let it bother you. It's there, it happened, it's reality. You got to get past it. But wasn't an awful first half for the Tropics, but they need to do a little more here in the second.
You know, I actually really enjoyed the second quarter for the Tropics. I thought their intensity, their ball movement, looking to find their target forward, make runs off the ball, get balls in the box, off the boards. I thought it was a really good, sharp second quarter. First quarter, of course, was a little bit sluggish, but credit to the Milwaukee Wave for coming out and dictating the tempo.
Take a look at some of the early highlights. A save there by Rafa Diaz, who has been so good in goal for Milwaukee in place of Josh Lemos. Petracek with the initial save, but Milwaukee gets on the board first as Oliveira rooks one on the restart to make it 1-0.
Yeah, and that's a blindside run from Oliveira. Gonzaga kind of lost his mark, couldn't see him, and it was a nice finish with his left foot.
And then a bit unlucky for the Tropics as it goes off the back foot of Drew Ruggles for a 2-0 Milwaukee lead. But then the Tropics come back. Almost a great end of the first quarter as Carvalho just misses the header. But the Tropics do finally get on the board. And then we see Petracek making a great save on Ian Bennett, and that doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Ian Bennett could have had a couple tonight so far, a couple good saves. But this is the restart from Guillermo. I love the futsal soul roll. Good set piece on the timeout from Clay Roberts.
That made it 2-1, and then the goal at the buzzer. So 3-1 is where we stand. We'll be back with second half action in just a moment. It's Milwaukee 3, Florida 1. This is Major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38. Work to be done here at the RP Funding Center. Brian Ackley along with Robbie Aristodemo as the Florida Tropics trail the Milwaukee Wave 3-1. So, Robbie, put on your coaching hat. I know you do a lot of coaching. If you're Clay Roberts, what's the message at halftime?
I think you continue to look to try to find your target forward. I'd like to see a little bit better runs from the midfielders and the second forwards off that target forward, and also maybe isolating some of your better 1v1 players, whether it's a Victor Perez, possibly maybe a Ricardinho, trying to beat players off the dribble to kind of create your own shot. But ultimately, I think that second quarter was fantastic. Continue to do what they're doing. I think what kind of hurt them was those double blue cards that took a lot of steam out of the momentum.
Yeah, no question about that. This will be the Tropics' last home game of the year, the calendar year. They will be on the road next weekend, and the Southern Homes home cooking schedule for the RP Funding Center shows the first two games against Orlando Sunday matinees, January 12th and 19th, 3:05 starts. A visit from the St. Louis Ambush on January 25th. One that we've got circled on the calendar, San Diego, the Sockers in town February 8th. And then Soccer Sam and the Rochester Lancers will make their visit to Lakeland on February 15th. Those are the next 5 home games for the Tropics. As we said, on the road next weekend, Friday in Rochester, Saturday in Baltimore. Ferdinand called for the follow at the yellow line.
Yeah, I think one of the things, Brian, that Clay Roberts is probably talking to his players about at halftime is that second forward unit getting a little bit more involved in the game, being a bit more creative.
Here's Pereira's little give and go with Ruggles. Ruggles tries to get it in front, and it goes off Tavernisi out of play.
Yeah, just like we talked about, getting Victor Pereira's 1v1 opportunities to create for himself. He's a very crafty dribbler. He can go both ways, and oftentimes it's just about isolating players with different mismatches.
Elvis with a long header into the Milwaukee third. Now Montoleras gets it to Carvalho. Carvalho. Tavernisi back to Carvalho. Over to Elvis. Tropics will change on the fly here. Tip of the holiday hat to the Milwaukee Wave fans. They've got quite a nice contingent in town. Must be Santa left some tickets in the Christmas stockings up in Wisconsin this past week.
I think everyone wants to get out of the cold.
I don't blame them. As a chance for Tavernisi, just misses on the redirect.
Well, I do like the fact that the Tropics are looking for their target forward. I think there's a real opportunity.
Ricardinho leaves it off for Acosta. Right again, looking for Tavernisi. Acosta steps up. Matt Clare will recover and bang it all the way back to Petracek. Good start here for the third quarter for the Tropics.
No, again, just riding the momentum, unfortunately, for that last second goal, but starting this quarter very sharply.
Reggett with it. Reggett turns, fires, and Vandergrift just got a foot on it. Reggett just a half second late pulling the trigger. Here's Gonzaga. Gonzaga being watched out there by man of the match, Juan Oliveria. Teixeira tries to take away. Is able to poke it back to Acosta.
You can feel it, Brian, right now. You can feel the energy, the enthusiasm, the intensity has now picked up.
Reggett has Manfoot trying to make a run. Here's Reggett. Again, Vandergrift gets a piece. Reggett tries to pick up his own rebound and can't quite collect it. Zach Reggett working hard, looking to get back on the score sheet.
Yeah, I'd like to see, it's a great turn from Zach Reggett, but I'd like to see him to shorten his shifts up a little bit. Keep players fresh, get another target forward that has the energy and the sharpness needed to get a goal. He's been on now for a good chunk of time.
Pereiras with it, tried to feed it through. Shmali got in the way. Reggett's going to head to the bench, I think now, maybe not.
Well, there's the problem. If you don't sub early, you could get caught on another long defensive shift, and that could really hurt your team.
Tennyson trying to muscle his way down the near boards. Ruggles challenges. Zach now finally does make it to the bench. Montoleras, long ball down to Guillerme. He's got the Tropics lone goal tonight. Guillerme battling in the corner, off the boards, easy play for Diaz.
Yeah, just didn't have the right angle,
Nope.
Guillerme.
Good idea, but did not quite, as you said, have the execution. Bennett trying to power past Ruggles.
I'll tell you one thing Max Ferdinand does really well, being such a small, slight type of player. He's really strong, uses his body extremely well.
Ruggles out at the midfield line, but Ferdinand gets by him, creates a 2-on-1. Ferdinand moves in, and Petracek comes out, but then it's an easy goal as Petracek cannot handle it. And so Milwaukee gets their 4th of the game and now takes a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, right on cue, talking about Max Ferdinand being very diminutive, strong, tidy. Of course, one of the better offensive players. Right now, I think Ruggles just kind of miscues the angle of the challenge. It's a 2v1. Kind of a fortunate role for Max Ferdinand. I think Petracek really had that covered. And I think it does look like a handball, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was close. They're not going to call it, and the Tropics are now going to get a yellow card for dissent.
Well, I think they're complaining, Brian, that when Max Ferdinand was on that breakaway, Petracek comes out and it bobbles up and it hits Max Ferdinand's hand and it corrals forward into the open net. So I think it was fortunate, unfortunate for the Tropics, fortunate for the Wave.
Lucas Montalera is going to serve the 5 minutes. Don't know if it was specifically against Lucas. I think it was more directed at the Florida bench, but Tropics unhappy. Here's one more look. Oh, yeah, it sure did come up and hit him in the arm. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
that was a good look there, for sure.
And Montalera is certainly complaining. He was right there on the ground to see that play. Very fortunate. But we're not fortunate enough to have the VAR.
No. And they really got a good look at it on the replay from the field level camera. Now here's a break again. Bradley. Alvis recovers. Teixeira pushing in there as well. 3 of them, 4 of them in there. Still a battle on the boards, and it'll finally be called against Milwaukee.
I think right now the Tropics are in danger. They've got to settle things in. It's only 4-1. You've got plenty of time in the game. Chip away, 1 goal at a time. Find themselves back into this game.
Yeah, just thinking the exact same thing, Robbie, that this is a dangerous moment here for the Tropics. Things could get out of hand quickly, or they can regain their composure and, as you say, chip away 1 goal at a time. So we'll see how it goes. Teixeira gets it down for Reggett, but again, a good step around by Liete, and here's a 2-on-1. Good recovery by Reggett, however. He took down Pereira. Reggett, frustrated, takes the long shot from about 60 feet and goes well high and wide.
Well, you like the intensity from Reggett, tracking all the way back to win possession of the ball. It looked like one of the Wave players, Pereira, kind of goes down like a ton of bricks trying to sell the call. But I thought that was a good non-call. But, you know, for me, it's been a frustrating game because the Tropics have played well. It's been a few of those moments that they've lacked that extra bit of quality in the final third. And the Wave right now have had that.
Bennett with a shot, and Petracek gets a hand on it, so it'll be a corner kick again for Milwaukee. Too many turnovers, though, for Florida. I think that's been really the difference tonight. We didn't see that last week against Baltimore, and Milwaukee has taken advantage of a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone that they've countered and created good opportunities off of.
Well, and again, we talked about it earlier in the pregame. It's a counter-attacking team. They like to lull you to sleep and then counter with their pacey players with a Ferdinand and an Ian Bennett.
Reggett with the takeaway, but it'll be collected by Liete out at the midfield line. Rather, that is Oliveria.
As a very technical player, Oliveria. He's got a hat trick on the night, but you can see he's very crafty, a very good two-way player.
Bennett will leave it for Ferdinand, double teamed. He'll go out of play. So Florida's perfect start definitely in jeopardy here. A lot of time to go, but 4-1 is the advantage for Milwaukee. Chamalé off the bench being watched by Manfoot, intercepted by Ricardinho. Ricardinho gets it down to Ruggles. Ruggles and Leite will bang after it. Ruggles tries to get it to Manfoot in front. Can't get it through. Acosta will settle it at the midfield line for Guilherme.
Yeah, when we talk about that second forward line, Matt Clare, Carvalho, we got Manfoot on the ball right now. They've got to provide something going forward. They have to be, that line has to be the spark if the Tropics want to get back in this game.
Guilherme from a sharp angle blocked by Ferdinand. Chamalé over there against Guy. Ferdinand and Manfoot now battle, and Manfoot going to be, I think, was it Manfoot called for the whistle? It was?
Yeah, not really sure. It seemed to be a bit of a soft call. Again, you got to start thinking about, Brian, when do we press? How do we press? Can we creep up a little bit more? Can we put the Wave under pressure? Can we try to create some turnovers in the offensive third of the field?
They've had pressure, but it hasn't been as intense or as sharp as it was last week against Baltimore. Liete with it. Plays it back to Diaz. As we said, Milwaukee's only given up 5 goals in their 3 wins. Here's Teixeira, and he will send it halfway to John's pass.
Well, we just talked about pressure, creating some turnovers, and just on cue, Teixeira with a nice turnover, crafty in and out move. Obviously, the execution wasn't there. But you like the intensity of the pressure. Right now, they're down 4-1. They're only down 3 goals, and that's nothing in an indoor soccer game.
No, next goal, though, could be large. Tropics need to create some momentum. Here's Carvalho. Carvalho with it. Top of the arc. Shot, and Diaz makes the save. Carvalho with the rebound. That never got through. Gonzaga will keep possession for Florida. And again, an injury for Milwaukee.
And I think, you know, again, when we look at this is the 3rd time the Wave have gone down in their defensive third of the field when the Tropics are gaining a little bit of momentum. That's a great save from Rafael Diaz, although it was right at him with good power from Carvalho. But probably frustrating for Clay Roberts because the Tropics are gaining momentum. They've got to get a goal. All of a sudden, the Wave player goes down. This is Liete at the time, and it kind of stops the momentum.
Well, if there's anything consolation-wise the Tropics can look at, it is they were the better team in the second half up in Milwaukee when they trailed. Of course, they only were down by a goal in the second half in that one, but they easily outplayed Milwaukee in the 4th quarter, and overtime outshot Milwaukee 9-2 over that period and had much the better chances. So certainly the Tropics are going to get opportunities here, and as you point out, it's all about execution at this point.
Well, right now you got Lucio Gonzaga just past the yellow line. You know, he's got a cannon. He can strike it from here.
Carvalho put it on the near post. Diaz had a little trouble with it. Alves tries to bang it in front to Tavernese, but Milwaukee will come out of there with it. Gonzaga can't make the stop. There's a chance for the Wave, but good defensive work by Gonzaga to recover. And then there's Tavernese taking down a foul. No blue card.
Good work from Tavernese. Now it's about getting line changes, keeping guys fresh.
Gonzaga with it. Gonzaga down low to Tavernese. He might try and play one off the boards here. He's very good at that. Here's Ruggles. Double teamed, gets it back on top to Gonzaga. Over to Rob Acosta. Tried to chip it into Carvalho. Carvalho able to at least keep possession and keep the Tropics on the offense here as Ruggles takes the spill. Florida will change here. Victor Pereira's back out now. Matt Clare as well.
Yep, I like this line with Matt Clare on the ball. Victor Pereira's here and Zach Reggett coming in.
Tried to get Reggett on the run through the box. Did Pereiras off the boards. Acosta working to try and get possession back, but Milwaukee will control. It's Ali Berry with it. Berry being watched by Teixeira. Nice move by Berry. Acosta comes all the way through in the box in front, but the Tropics able to get possession. Long ball down to Reggett. That is knocked out of there by Oliveria. Berry can't control, so it'll get played back to Brett Petracek. Petracek 2-0 in his 2 starts for the Tropics, so his perfect mark also in jeopardy here this evening. Pereiras over the midfield line now. To the Milwaukee yellow line to Reggett. He tried to turn and just out of his reach.
I like what Victor's doing, looking for the target forward. It's a lot of 1v1 isolation play. The Wave are allowing that ball into the target.
Pereiras wide of the mark there. Teixeira gets the rebound. Back on top to Alves and to Matt Clare. Down to Pereiras as Clare tries to make a run. Pereiras with it. Down to Reggett. Little give and go with Victor. Victor heads it over, tries to get it to Matt Clare. Never could get it teed up. Alves with a long shot. That goes a couple of feet wide. Ferdinand with the rebound. Gets it ahead to Grable, and Grable is taken down hard, and that's a blue card. third Tropics penalty of the game.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to see a replay. This is potentially the second blue card for Teixeira. And
yeah, that's just a pretty nasty collision, high up in the head area. No question about that as a blue card.
Yeah, I think Lucas is probably, you know, hitting himself and saying that, listen, it was a little bit of a late challenge. No need for that challenge. Nowhere to go.
Breaking the action here at the RP Funding Center. The Tropics on the ropes here in the third quarter. They trail 4-1. Milwaukee going on the power play. More action in just a moment.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
Well, the hill just got a little steeper for the Tropics as Lucas Teixeira sent off for 2 minutes. And a little bit of frustration, Robbie, starting to show up perhaps here on the part of the Tropics.
Yeah, third blue card on the day for the Tropics. Again, when you're playing against a top team, MASL champions of last year, you can't afford to give up blue cards and give a very good offensive team opportunities.
Don't know if this is a must kill, but pretty close for the Tropics. Here's Bennett with a shot. Alves steps in front of that one. Bennett will get it right back. Liete at the yellow line now. Right side to Viega. Liete leaves it up for Bennett. Petracek with a good save, and Alves tries to clear the area, but Liete comes up with it. Bennett sends it in front, and Ruggles knocks it back out to the midfield circle.
Yeah, right now they're set up in a little bit of a diamond if you're a Tropics player. You got Liete running the show at the top. Very crafty player.
Turn by Oliveria. Can't get it through. Liete, though, will maintain possession down low. Alves with it, and Alves will bang it off the boards out to the midfield line.
I think one of the things, a man down, again, this tires out Tropics players. You don't have a lot of the ball. You're defending for 2 minutes.
Through and a goal. Don't think Bennett even had to touch that one. I think it'll be Ferdinand's goal from deep in the right corner. And that'll make it 5-1 on the power play.
It feels like another own goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it deflected off one of the Tropics players or not. Bennett could have finished it, but I don't think he had to. Viega plays it down to Ferdinand, and it goes off Rafael Alves.
That's the second own goal, Brian, on the day. Unfortunate for the Tropics, but again, they're shooting themselves in the foot with their third blue card. You just cannot give the quality of a Milwaukee Wave, especially with that five. You've got some real offensive-minded players, very good ball control. They move the ball from side to side, and then you got Ian Bennett and Max Ferdinand always lurking at the back post.
Second own goal, if you will, tonight. But as Robbie points out, the Tropics put themselves in peril. Second power play goal of the game for Milwaukee after Florida did not give up a power play goal the entire season to this point. Of course, just 5 games, but still they were perfect on the penalty kill until tonight. Gonzaga out there now. See if he can settle things down. Petracek will come off his line. Ahead to Gonzaga. Gonzaga will take a tumble and a foul call.
I think nice, savvy veteran move from Gonzaga. He knew he wasn't going to get it, so he just kind of flew to the ground, just a little bit nudged. You know, what do Clay Roberts and the Tropics have to do? You may have to start thinking about shortening your lines. Instead of having 3 per line, you might have to go with who you think your top 10 players are to see if they can get themselves back into the game. And more importantly, find a rhythm. Oftentimes when you're in twos, you can find a better rhythm.
Tavernese will get it back out to Ruggles. Tropics in desperate need of 1 or 2 here late in the third quarter. Here's the long shot off the boards. Carvalho going to collect, but again, can't get it through. Milwaukee doing to Florida this Saturday what Florida did to Baltimore last Saturday. Just not much room to operate at all. Sometimes seems like there's 6 Milwaukee field players out there at a time. Tropics just not creating much off the ball and not getting much space when they have it to create themselves.
Yeah, just a very much counter-attacking team. Credit to the Wave for sitting in and really executing their game plan to perfection, kind of drawing in the Tropics players and then transitioning with their counterattacks.
Teixeira over to Acosta. Back to Teixeira. Pereira's going to go a little 1v1 here. Nope, doesn't do it. Gets it back to Lucas. Lucas with a long shot, and that is easily blocked.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd love to see Victor Pereira just look to take players on 1v1, take this game by the scruff, and see if you can really get the Tropics back into it on your own. He's one of the most talented offensive players the Tropics have, and you've got to continue to feed him the ball.
Teixeira will leave it off for Acosta. Gets it down low to Reggett. Reggett leaves it for Pereiras. Pereiras takes a tumble. Reggett will also take a tumble and hurt a knee, and there's a penalty. First blue card of the night to Milwaukee as Ali Berry will go to the box, and let's make sure Zach Reggett is okay. He really grabbed for that right knee in a hurry after that collision. Here's a replay.
Well, Zach Reggett really did a good job getting his body in between the ball and the Wave player Berry. Good opportunity for the Tropics to get back into the game with a power play, man-up opportunity.
Going off under his own power, although he is favoring that left knee a little bit, but hopefully we'll see him back. So the Tropics will send out Gonzaga, Carvalho, Teixeira, Victor Pereiras, and Joey Tavernese as their power play unit here.
Well, you have inverted wingers, so to speak. You've got Carvalho as a left-footed player on the right side. You got Victor Pereiras, right-footed player on the left side. Always looking to come in on their strong foot to create opportunities on goal.
Bennett with it, trying to counter man down here, and Bennett still with it. Carvalho works hard to get back defensively and break up that chance for Bennett. Gonzaga will push forward now for Florida. They desperately need a power play marker here. Carvalho down to Tavernese. Tries to play it back to the midfield area, deflected away. Gonzaga will track it down. 1:26 to go in the man advantage. Teixeira. Carvalho right back to Lucas. Down to Carvalho. Carvalho off the boards. Tried to hit Tavernese in front. Here's Teixeira. Off to Gonzaga. Quickly down to Carvalho. Back on top to Gonzaga. Bennett, the point man on top here. Here's a chance in front. Tavernese can't quite get the redirect as Diaz goes down to make the save. Best opportunity the Tropics have had in a while, and Tavernese just inches away from making it a 5-2 game.
That's a good back post, far post ping from Victor Pereiras into Tavernese. Unfortunate. It's a game of inches, but I think if you're Clay Roberts, this is a must. This is a must score on the power play.
Not a good pass from Gonzaga to Carvalho there. Not enough pace on it, and Rabel was able to step in the middle of that and send it back into the Florida end of the field. Half minute to go in the power play. Teixeira at the yellow line. Over to Gonzaga. Gonzaga presses into the offensive third to Teixeira. Shot. This is wide. Carvalho can't get the rebound in front. Tavernese. He battles Carvalho with a shot, but didn't get much on it. And Diaz able to collect it, and Milwaukee will take a timeout here with 40.6 seconds to play in the third quarter and 16 seconds left in the power play as we take a look at that last Florida opportunity. Tavernese just missing the redirect. He might have got just a piece of it, but Rafa Diaz, who has been tremendous for Milwaukee since assuming the starting goalkeeping role. Of course, Josh Lemos, one of the best, if not the best goaltender in the entire MASL. Expected to be the backstop in Milwaukee this year. Went down with an ACL injury in the preseason, done for the year. And Robbie, pretty nice when your number one guy goes down and you have a guy like Rafa Diaz to back him up.
He's had a great game tonight, and I think credit to a lot of the tactics and the philosophy that the Wave are implementing right now, with 5 guys behind the ball, just defending in their own half, really not pressing the Tropics at all. So, you know, Diaz has all of his players in front of him at all times, and he's made the critical stops that he's needed to make. And, you know, he's been a nice surprise for me, since this is the first time for me actually seeing him play. He's been fantastic on the day.
He was super silly good in the game up in Milwaukee, even though the Tropics prevailed in overtime. So that is not, they really have not missed a beat with Diaz back there instead of Lemos. Just want to send our best and a special hello to Artie Kramer up in Milwaukee. Friend from the days back with the Buffalo Blizzard and a longtime broadcaster for the Wave. Not doing those duties this year, but certainly want to say hello to Art and send our best along to him and all the Milwaukee family. Tom Wynn, who does such a tremendous job, the gold standard of broadcasters in the MASL. Here's Gonzaga. Down to Pereira. Shot go!
Well, if there's one guy, Brian, that's going to get you back in this game, that's your captain, Victor Pereira's. Great assist on the power play from Lucio Gonzaga. Just a nice little slip ball down low, first-time shot. And yeah, listen, that's a big goal to make it 5-2 with 29 seconds left in the third quarter.
And you called it, Robbie. Victor Pereira's the man to try and light the fire. A power play goal for the Tropics, and it's a 5-2 game, and we'll see if that really gets the Tropics flowing in the right direction.
Well, you've got a great crowd on hand. And obviously, you're only down 3 goals. If you can continue with the energy, I don't think the Tropics have really played that poorly. They've just been unfortunate with a few of those blue cards and own goals on the night.
Milwaukee making a bid for a late goal again here. They scored right at the buzzer at the end of the first half. It was a 2-1 game at that point, and Milwaukee made it 3-1 going to the locker room. Just 5 seconds to go. Ruggles will play a long ball into the Milwaukee end of the field, and Guillerme with the rebound, but time expires. So a ray of hope, a ray of sunshine, perhaps for the Tropics. A late power play goal by Victor Pereiras, and that makes it a 5-2 game. But still, 15 minutes to come from the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland, Florida, as the Florida Tropics look to remain undefeated. This is Major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38. Well, I don't know about you, Robbie, but that's something maybe we both need to do after a little too much Christmas celebration.
Just think about too many cookies for me over this holiday.
I was a little bit too heavy into the candied nuts, I have to admit. So good for those guys. And good for Victor Pereira's getting his 49th career goal for the Tropics, giving them a little life here at the end of the third quarter. Victor, the Tropics' active all-time leading scorer, now with 49 goals and 34 assists, 83 total points. He is now just 15 points behind his good friend Ricardo Dieguez, who now plays with Utica as Manfoot takes a long shot, rebound, goal!
We talked about earlier, that second forward line with Matt Clare, Manfoot, and Carvalho. They've got to step it up. That's a good one-on-one move from Manfoot. Shoots it, nice rebound. Look who's lurking at the back post like a veteran player, Lucio Gonzaga, with a fantastic tap in. And that midfield line of Perez and Gonzaga, they're really lighting up the score sheet right now with assists and goals.
Just 27 seconds in, Gonzaga gets his third in 2 games since joining the Tropics. And it's a ball game now at 5-3.
Yeah, one-on-one again with Manfoot. He's a good 1v1 player. Goes left and cuts it inside. Takes a nice hard shot. Rebound right into Gonzaga's feet. Composed finish. And as you alluded to earlier, he's such a composed player, Gonzaga.
Just to finish the thought on Ricardo Dieguez and Victor Pereira's very good friends. They played together collegiately and indoors professionally for 8 seasons before Ricardo signed with Utica City in the offseason. So Ricardo with 69 goals and 29 assists, the all-time leading point getter for the Tropics with 98. And now Victor Pereira's with 83 points, just 15 behind his good friend. Very good chance that Victor will take over the all-time Tropics leading scorer title sometime later this year. Here's Carvalho, tries to get a Regan in front. He's pushed down, and I think we've got a penalty kick coming up.
It's a great ball off the boards.
They're going to call it a foul and a restart at the top of the yard.
But we'll see, because any foul in the box should be a penalty shot, unless it wasn't deemed to be inside the box. We'll look at the replay.
For sure it was inside the box.
Well,
I mean, it's not even close to not being inside the box. Here's Gonzaga Regan, and he tries to turn. Not sure how they,
well, it's something that we've got to look into the rule books, but nonetheless was an opportunity.
Obviously a blue card in the box is a penalty shot, but a foul in the box, a restart at the top of the line. A foul now called against Rafa Alves as things starting to get even more physical than we have seen over the first 3 quarters, and expect that here in an intense fourth quarter. Chance down low, Petracek, and a good defensive play that time by Alves as he was behind Petracek. And now Gonzaga taken down heavily.
Well, I love the intensity. It's starting to really heat up right now. Another infraction for the Wave.
Delay warning issued to the Wave, to one of the Wave players. That's just a warning. If it happens again, that would be a blue card, but
you know, one of the things that I'm noticing, and again, I was wanting a little bit more of this in the second and third quarter, is 1v1 opportunities, isolating yourself in the wide areas of the field, because of course you're playing indoor soccer. You have those boards at your disposal, and I think it's really working in the favor of the Tropics at the moment.
Pereiras with it, tries to get it through to Guilherme, does to Monolaris. Monolaris with a little miss hit, goes after his own rebound. Diaz will, however, pick it up in the box. Yeah, very intense out there on the floor right now as Pereiras goes after Pereira.
Again, this indoor game is made for TV. It's high action, high paced, lots of opportunities. This has been a really, really good tactical game from both teams.
Pereiras with some pressure. Now Guilherme steps up, tries to get by Ali Berry. Pereiras with a takeaway. Pereiras down to Guilherme. Guilherme in front. Can't get it through. Guilherme with a volley shot. And Diaz with a save. Guilherme again with a rebound. And it goes out of play.
Oh, yeah. We just talked about it. This game is so action-packed. Another good opportunity for Pereiras. Slips it to his left. I think he probably should have shot the ball. You know, you're looking at the replay. Nice header, though. Good save.
And Guilherme got a lot of that on the volley. Great play by Pereiras to get it to Guilherme for the opportunity on the short side. Good save, though, by Diaz.
Right now,
5-3 Tropics. They've scored the last 2. Get themselves back in it. Turn by Curiel at the midfield line, taken away. Cabrera with it. Ricardinho on Liete, and Milwaukee will retain possession now. Barry with it. Pressure by Matt Clare, and he almost took it away. Diaz is not great with his feet. Just gets it out of the Milwaukee end of the field. Teixeira with a lot of room here. 4-on-3. Here's Cabrera in front. Tried to get Teixeira making a run through the box. Couldn't do it, and Milwaukee now has numbers. It's Ferdinand and Bennett, and look out here. Ruggles the only man back. Through to Bennett, and he can't quite corral the pass.
Well, that's a nutmeg pass from Ferdinand. Another opportunity on the transition for the Tropics. This game is back and forth, Brian.
Yeah, things have picked up in intensity in a big fashion here in the final 12 minutes. Manfoot with it, one-on-one. Manfoot tries to get through Barry. No foul called. Gonzaga back to make the intercept. Reggett using his big frame. Reggett doesn't have any help. Gets it back out to Manfoot, and he lets it slide through to Ruggles now. Ruggles would love to get one against his former mates, that's for sure. He's not scored this year after getting 11 last year with Milwaukee. Reggett in front. Gonzaga makes a run, and Diaz gets there just a half second in front of Gonzaga.
A good find from Gonzaga. Good two-way play off the boards from Reggett.
Here's Gonzaga at the other line. Leaves it up for Reggett, and good defensive play. Here's Reggett again. Save. Reggett scores! Fourth of the year.
And that's just sheer effort from Zach Reggett. He's had a nice solid game. Looking at the replay, takes a shot, gets it blocked initially, follows his own rebound from the keeper, right foot top of he roofs it and gets the Tropics within one. This game is fantastic, and I love the effort from Zach Reggett, never giving up on the play. What a quality finish with his right foot.
Yeah, that was just all Zach Reggett all the time. He is such a hard worker. Forget about his talent. His work ethic is off the charts. I said a couple of broadcasts ago, he's not a star in the making. He's a superstar in the making. And he gets his fourth of the year, first of the game, and it's 5-4.
I'll tell you what, right now, the Tropics have all the momentum.
Got to be careful not to get caught up, though. Here's a ball through to Petricek, and he bobbles it for a moment, but finally covers up. Boy, every shot, every play, every pass, so big now at 5-4. That's the final, how it ended 3 Saturdays ago in Milwaukee in overtime when the Tropics won it. Pereiras, long ball through to Tavernisi, up the burst. Tavernisi denied by Diaz.
Another great opportunity for the Tropics. Unfortunate with a bad call from the referee. But you love, Brian, what the Tropics have done to get themselves back in this game. And you can always feel that, you know, I think they felt a little bit hard done. They really didn't, I didn't feel they deserved to be down 4-1.
5-1.
5-1 with the own goals and 3 blue cards. But credit to them for coming out on fire in this fourth quarter.
Alvis with a challenge, gets in front, and Teixeira trying to recover. Acosta there with a good defensive play. They'll leave it to Petricek, quickly to Teixeira. Got a lot of room to operate here. Teixeira, slow push forward. Ricardinho with it. Acosta to Teixeira. Now to Clare, Matt Clare. A couple of guys watching him. Vandergriff and Shamali for the Wave defensively. Here's Cabrera. Cabrera to Teixeira. Ricardinho had that great assist in overtime on Guillerme's game winner in Milwaukee.
Well, you like it again, isolating players in the wide areas, creating your chances, 1v1. You've got the boards at your disposal. But right now, I think the Wave, you know, because of the tactical way that they're playing this game and dropping everyone back, they've been defending for long periods of time. And right now in this fourth quarter, their legs look a little bit tired.
Ricardinho over to Clare. Clare with a long shot that misses wide, and it will go out of play. 9:11 to go. A 1-goal lead for Milwaukee. The Tropics with 3 unanswered here in the second half to make it a ball game for sure. Diaz will come off his line. Leaves it for Liete. Being watched by Manfoot. Tavernisi with pressure on Shamali, so he'll play it back to Diaz. Gonzaga going to try and track it down. 2 veterans, he and Liete. Manfoot steps up. Manfoot with it. tries to get it towards Tavernese in the box, but intercepted by Shamali. Manfoot takes it away. Manfoot tried to turn, will maintain possession.
Yeah, maintain possession, get fresh legs on now. That was a good little defensive effort from Manfoot. Opportunity now to change lines, get some energy and fresh legs onto the field.
Monaleros will leave it over for Manfoot. Ruggles out there now. Pereira's back on the floor. Pereira's long shot, and that one just missed. Just inches high and wide. Carvalho, nice little ball to Monaleros to Carvalho, and off the boards, and Diaz.
Oh, I love the little give and go.
Collect.
Fantastic play from Victor Pereira. Just misses the top right corner. And we keep talking about the 1v1 isolation play in the wide areas. Because the Wave players are sitting back so deep, it's allowing players to get the ball in the wide areas and expose some defensive players 1v1.
Well, just like we saw in Milwaukee 3 Saturdays ago, the Tropics dominating here in the fourth quarter. They trail by a goal. Pereira pushes forward. Ferdinand on him. Pereira's one-on-one against the crafty Max Ferdinand. And for that moment, Ferdinand will win the battle. Carvalho has it. Leaves it off to Teixeira. He makes a bid from distance wide. Reggett with the rebound. Reggett battles in the corner. He'll play it back to Lucas. Teixeira with a shot. That's blocked. Just a half-second late again by Lucas and pulling the trigger there.
Well, it's all Tropics all the time right now in this fourth quarter with 7 minutes to go.
Surely is. Here's Pereiras again. Leaves it for Claire. Claire mishits that one. Pereira's trying to battle in the corner. Still loose in there. Claire will come out of there with it. Claire gets it back to Ruggles. Well, it'd be a great time for Drew to get his first.
That's an opportunity now to get line changes. This is where you've got to be a smart indoor team. Get fresh players on the field while you're in full control of the ball. And what this does, Brian, it now pins back Max Ferdinand, Ian Bennett, Liete. Now they're not going to be able to get out once they win the ball. They're going to have such tired legs.
Yeah, Milwaukee's in that same situation Florida found itself in earlier, where their bench is at the opposite end of the field. Here's Ricardinho. Ricardinho shot and never got through. Monaleros trying to put some pressure on Bennett in the corner, but Bennett will come out of there with it. Gonzaga breaks it up for a moment, but Bennett comes back, gets it through to Ferdinand. Ferdinand leaves it, and now Claire has it. He'll smartly get it back to Petracek. Ruggles to Claire. Claire with a bad giveaway, Liete. But Petracek able to come back and recover and make amends for the Claire bobble there. Cleared out to the midfield line. Oliveria with 3 goals, the natural hat trick in the first half to give Milwaukee a 3-1 lead at intermission. They built it to 5-1, but 3 unanswered by the Tropics since has made it a 5-4 game. And we have a timeout on the floor. Just 5:55 left to play. Buckle your seatbelts. This could be fun. It's major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38. We'll be back with what should be a fantastic finish in just a moment.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
So can the Tropics climb all the way back? Zach Reggett's goal at the 4:06 mark here of the fourth makes it 5-4. Victor Pereira's on the power play with just 29 seconds to go at the end of the third quarter started the comeback. And then Gonzaga at just 27-second mark of the fourth quarter made it 5-3. Gonzaga with a three-point night, a goal and 2 assists.
It's unfortunate looking at the midfielder line of Ricardinho coming out looking like an ankle injury.
Yeah, did not see what happened to him, but being carried to the locker room by Tropics personnel, and that is never good news. Here's the ball down to Guilherme now. Guilherme leaves it over to Pereiras. Makes a move, gets it off the boards in front, and Guilherme was lurking, but never quite got through to Guy.
Again, another 1v1 opportunity for Victor Pereiras, and he skins his man alive, takes him right, pushes it left, gets a shot off.
Teixeira leaves it for Manfoot. Manfoot trying to get around Liete. Does, but one of the Milwaukee defenders able to come over and provide some help. Here's Teixeira. Leaves it off for Elvis. Elvis had a goal in the win in Milwaukee. Pereiras.
Yeah, he's getting double teamed now,
yeah,
Brian.
Right? That means somebody's got to be open somewhere. Here's Elvis over to Antonio Jose Manfoot. Back to Teixeira. Tropics will change on the fly here inside 5 minutes to go. Pereiras looking for an opportunity. Didn't get a lot on it. Acosta steps up and will not be called for the foul as Viega went to the turf.
Yeah, went down a little bit too cheaply, Viega. Now a line change for the Tropics, so they've got a fresh line.
Gonzaga back out there with Carvalho and Joey Tavernese. Acosta and Manoleros on the defense, and Acosta with a little trouble gets it back to Petracek. But Petracek will play the long ball down to Tavernese. Joey looking for his first goal of the season. Been a very important contributor with 5 assists. Here's Manoleros with a long shot, and Curiel.
Just a lot of space. Yeah, no, a lot of space for the target players for the Tropics. The entry ball in is now becoming a little bit easier because it's the fourth quarter. Not as much pressure on the ball.
Ruggles will bring it over the yellow line. Being watched by Curiel to Gonzaga. Gonzaga, we pushed it just a little far ahead. He scored from that spot on the floor last week. Gonzaga and Shamali with it, and a nice run by the veteran Lucio Gonzaga, and he is taken down, and Shamali is called for the foul.
That's a great recovery run from Gonzaga. I think a little bit of a cheap turnover, but he's done extremely well to get back. You know, someone that's been in the league for so long, 39-year-old legs, and he's doing a fantastic job of getting back and behind the ball.
167 career goals from those legs. 168 would be nice. Here's Pereiras off to Ruggles. Ruggles tries to make a move on one of his former teammates.
Been impressed with Ruggles because he's very calm and composed on the ball. Doesn't get rattled.
Pereiras looking for an opportunity. Cuts it back at top of the arc. Shot, and Diaz makes a save as Pereiras makes a bid to tie it at 5. Manoleros, and he's going to be called for the blue card. No question about that one either. As he took down Curiel. And boy, that is a tough penalty with 2:59 to go.
Talk about probably the worst timing possible for Clay Roberts is to get a blue card with 3 minutes left in the game. It's a 2-minute power play. You're looking at a high foot from Ruggles.
Yeah,
they didn't call that.
Yeah, he could have almost gotten one there, and then no question the tug by Manoleros to.
So, yeah, you know, for me, Brian, with 3 minutes to go, 5-4 game, I would have liked to see the referees let that go. That looked a little bit soft for me. The ball was already well out of play. I think it was a little bit of a dive, but fair enough to Pereira selling the 2 minute.
Yep. And Teixeira honestly did not complain much, even though obviously he would prefer just the foul and not the blue card. So Milwaukee with 2 power play goals tonight, if nothing else, should be able to kill a good 2 minutes off the clock, which means the Tropics would have only just a minute left with which to tie it, and undoubtedly they go to a sixth attacker. Victor Pereira usually plays that role, but will it be a 1 or 2 goal deficit? That's the question. Ferdinand. Milwaukee in no big hurry. They will certainly milk the clock. If they get a good opportunity, they'll take it, but they're not going to force things here. Ruggles, Tavernese, Manfoot, and Lucas Teixeira out on the penalty kill unit. Ferdinand with it, down to 1:20 to go in the man advantage. Ferdinand with it at the yellow line. Milwaukee content to play outside the yellow line. Now Viega down low, but he will send it back outside into the neutral area, and Ferdinand will collect.
You know, I think it's an opportunity for the Wave just to kind of kill this game. But maybe
on the counter. We'll try and get it ahead for Manfoot. Ferdinand going to get back there, though. Manfoot trying to make a takeaway. Good effort by Manfoot, at least to kill some clock here as they get it back to Diaz. 43 seconds to go in the penalty to Manoleros.
It is surprising to see Manfoot on the man down kill.
Yeah, that's a nice endorsement for Manfoot to have him out there from Clay Roberts.
So far, so good for the Tropics.
Teixeira beaten on the far boards. Bennett, though, couldn't get an opportunity. Tavernese with it. He'll play it back out to the midfield line. Manfoot will come off. Carvalho will come on. 1:10 to go, just 10 seconds in the penalty. Tropics will go to a sixth attacker. I'm sure if they get the chance. Here's a shot save and an easy rebound goal, and that will probably be the ball game. And who else? Luan Oliveira with his 4th of the game. And officially, I believe it will be a power play goal. There was 1 second left in the Manoleros penalty.
Well, it's been a game of seconds. Oliveira scoring just before halftime with the buzzard going off for his 3rd. Now completing with another one. 4 goals on the night on the road. What a fantastic performance from Oliveira. And really a tap-in finish. You know, Petracek with a nice save, but corrals it just into the offensive player's foot. Easy tap-in. But I think we go back to the 4th blue card of the game for Clay Roberts' crew. A little bit undisciplined, and giving up 4 blue cards. Very difficult to give up that many and expect to win a game against a quality opponent.
Victor Pereira on is the 6th attacker. They've got to push forward in a hurry now. Bennett will be out there to try and take it away from Pereira, and does for a minute. Now Ruggles, and he will send it Milwaukee's way, but sent right back into the Tropics zone to Guilherme. Time is a big problem now for the Tropics. They need 2 to tie it. Carvalho with it, gets it to Pereira. Got to press forward now and not worry about the consequences. Here's Guilherme. Guilherme didn't tee it up. Got to start getting shots on goal here. No time to get fancy or worry about style points. Here's Ruggles with a long shot. That's well off the mark. And Shamali will clear it back into the Florida end of the field as time winds down. Just 15 seconds to go, and the Florida Tropics will see their undefeated season or undefeated start come to an end. Long ball into the box, knocked out of play, and it'll be a top of the arc restart for Florida as Viega a little shaken up on the play. So the Tropics with perhaps a chance to make it look a little closer on the score sheet. Milwaukee will improve to 4-1 on the season, and these 2 teams will be 1-1 against each other, with the rubber game coming in mid-February up in Milwaukee. Gonzaga leaves it off cover. Oh, shot to go! Don't know if it'll be Tavernese who got the redirect or Carvalho will get credit for it, but it will make it a 6-5 final with just 4.2 seconds to go. So that power play goal by Milwaukee is in fact going to be the difference.
Well, nice little tap set piece. Tavernese, I think, silver lining. He gets his first goal in a Tropics uniform. So all the hard work that he's been doing game in and game out is finally rewarded. And that might spur some confidence for him going forward with his first goal. And I like what he's done tonight. He's been a hard worker. He's been a good hold-up target. Defensively, he's done well, and it's nice to see him get a tap-in goal.
Well, Clay Roberts going to try and pull something out of the hat here, but of course Milwaukee will get the restart, and really all you have to do is send it into the Florida end of the field, and that will effectively kill the 4.2 seconds. So they will credit Ricardo Carvalho with the goal. So apparently Joey did not get a piece of it, and Carvalho gets his team-leading 7th of the season. But
we'd have to see another replay because that looked pretty clear to me. We'll tap in from Tavernisi.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think if there's any timeouts left and the ball somehow finds Victor's hands, maybe it's a timeout. You've got very difficult with only 4 seconds left, and the Wave have possession of the ball. Be near impossible to get any sort of offensive attack.
Bennett going to put it in play here. Plays it back, and there's the long ball into the Florida end of the field, and there is the horn to end the ball game. So a disappointing result. The Tropics just not quite as sharp tonight as they needed to be. A couple of penalties that were questionable, not that they weren't penalties, but undisciplined, and too many turnovers that Milwaukee was able to convert into chances and goals, and the Wave get revenge on the Tropics after losing that overtime thriller in Milwaukee to Florida on December 7th, 5-4. The Wave show their championship medal here this evening and win it by a final score of 6-5. Not a bad effort by the Tropics tonight, Robbie, but when you're playing the champs, you got to be better than just pretty good.
Yeah, you got to be pretty sharp. I think ultimately those 4 blue cards are going to be something they're going to be talking about in the locker room. I thought the second quarter and the entire second half, I thought the Tropics did extremely well. Energy, tempo, creating chances. That fourth quarter, it looked like they were going to come back and win the game. That blue card in the fourth quarter really, I think, hurt that momentum going forward. So ultimately, great game from both sides. Blue cards were kind of the story on the night, but I thought it very entertaining for the crowd, and for me, certainly I enjoyed the game from both ends.
And hard to forget that the Tropics actually did trail at 5-1 at this point in the game, and almost looked out of it, and then scored 3 unanswered and had all the chances, had the pressure and
momentum.
had the momentum, and absolutely everyone in this building, and a really nice holiday crowd here at the RP Funding Center, all thinking that the Tropics might get that leveler, but it never came as Milwaukee gets the late power play goal. 6-5 our final. We'll be back to talk with Coach Clay Roberts and others in just a moment on Great 38. back here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. An entertaining game, to say the least, and as we expected, a close one as it turned out. But Luan Oliveria, the story for the Milwaukee Wave, 4 goals here, none bigger than the power play marker with just 1 minute and 3 seconds to play, which turned out to be the game winner. And by the way, they did credit Joey Tavernese, not Ricardo Carvalho, with that 5th Florida goal. So the Tropics will hit the road at 5-1, still atop the Eastern Conference. Whether they are atop alone or with Utica City will be determined by Utica. They are home tonight against the Harrisburg Heat and lead Harrisburg 1-0 right now. So back here at the RP Funding Center, the first of 2 back-to-back Sunday matinees against the Orlando Seawolves. Those are 3 o'clock starts. And then the 3-game homestand will conclude with a 5 o'clock kickoff against the improved St. Louis Ambush. And then really a big one on February 8th as the 13-time world champion San Diego Sockers come to town, and then a visit by Rochester on February 15th. Well, I'm sure Clay Roberts is a little disappointed, but he'll talk about it with Robbie Aristodemo. Let's head down to the field and coach Clay Roberts.
I thought it was actually a fantastic game for me. From my perspective, the second half, you guys had all the momentum. You know, what do you think went wrong in the game? You only lost 6-5, and a real good game for me in terms of the intensity of your boys. And to come back from 5-1 down, what would you like to see a little bit different?
Yeah, we got to start better. You know, that's the key in this game. We said going into it, really whoever won the first half is going to be in a position to win the game. And we didn't play well in the first half, and we found ourselves in a big deficit. But to be down 5-1 and produce 4 goals, you know, and get back to a 1-goal, you know, game there at the end, it just shows to our character and quality. But that one's on us. We got to do better in the first half.
You know, we talked about, me and Brian up there in the broadcast, just getting 4 blue cards in the game. Do you think that was a big factor in you know, giving up 6 goals?
Yeah, if you walk in our locker room right now, there's a big circle around don't get blue cards. And that was always going to be a key, and that's the difference in the game. You know, are they blues? You know, you never know, and so the referees are the ones that make those calls. What we can do better is be a bit more in control in those moments, but we're chasing the game. Sometimes when you're chasing the game, you're trying to step up defensively. You get there late, you get there a little bit too physical, and we put ourselves in that position. So, again, that's on us. You know, it's one of these good early losses, if you can say it that way. If we're losing 1-0 to the champions again, and us beat them 1-0 up there, it's just going to be a great series. The weight of the 3rd game in our matchup this year is probably going to be pretty heavy later in the year.
No, I thought it was a tremendous effort from both sides. I mean, look at the tactical difference with the Wave sitting back and allowing you guys to find the target forward, you know, kind of just pinning them in oftentimes in the game. I thought the second quarter and really the fourth quarter, you had a good opportunity of just pinning those players in for long periods of time. And I thought you guys were just that close to make that dramatic comeback. So, you know, credit to you and the boys. I thought it was a fantastic effort, and hopefully you guys get back on the win streak soon.
Yeah, no, and that was the key. We came out of the locker room and said we've got to be closer to the goal. We're too far away in the first half. Again, just a little lack of intensity. And that second half, 3rd and 4th quarter, we're producing a first shot, a second chance, a 3rd shot even in the sequences. That's how we were going to get back in it, and that's where the goals came from. And so, again, credit to them. You know, they did what they had to do to sit in and make it difficult, especially late in the 4th. You know, but again, proud of us in the way we played the second half. We just put ourselves in a hole early on.
Well, congrats, Coach, on an almost comeback. And again, you know, you're at 5-1 right now, so the season started fantastic, and the team looks really, really sharp, cohesive, a good unit, and I think there's some really good things to come. Congratulations.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.
All right, Robbie, thank you so much. And Clay Roberts, thank you for spending a few minutes with us here on Great 38. And as he said, a little disappointed. And it's interesting, I know during practice before the Baltimore game, he actually talked to his team a lot about the winner of that game was going to be the team that won the first half and not necessarily the second half. And as he points out, that really was the difference tonight. The Tropics did not play poorly in the first half, but certainly did not play up to their talent level. Looked like they would go to intermission trailing just 2-1, and then that power play goal just as time expired in the first half, and then the late power play goal in the 4th quarter turns out to be the difference, 6-5. The final. So the Tropics 5-1, and ultimately, and I think Clay kind of alluded to this at the end of the interview, if you talk about doing the math for the month of December, the Tropics knew they had 6 games this month. They knew 3 of the 6 were against teams that have won the last 4, MASL championships. Milwaukee, the defending champion, Baltimore, the 3-time champions before that. So to come out of the month at 5-1 really is not all that bad. Sure, you'd like to be 6-0. That would be ideal and would give you a little separation from the rest of the division, perhaps. But the reality is 5-1 is probably on paper what you were hoping for and what you could reasonably expect. So it's still a very good start. And as we said, Utica City may in fact tie the Tropics for the Eastern Conference lead. They can't lose first place because Utica City is playing the Heat, and both of those teams come in tonight at 4-1. Milwaukee now also 4-1, and they will head home for a New Year's Eve contest against the Mesquite Outlaws, coached by Tattoo. So the final, once again here tonight from the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. The Florida Tropics falling to the Milwaukee Wave by a 6-5 count. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. Thanks to the crew from Gemstone. Thanks to Great 38, and we hope you enjoyed the game wherever you may be. The final, Milwaukee 6, Florida 5. Have a great New Year's, everybody, and we'll see you back here on January 12th. Good night from Lakeland.